Welcome to AI Evening News. Here are today's main AI topics at a glance. Next, the second half of today's topics. YouTube is taking the AI label out of the creators' hands. Until now, the platform relied on creators to self-disclose AI-generated or significantly altered content. From the coming weeks, YouTube will run its own detection and mark realistic AI videos automatically. The label will appear directly on the long-form player and inside the Shorts UI, not just in the description. YouTube says the label does not affect recommendations or monetization. Videos made with YouTube's own VO tools or carrying C2PA provenance cannot have the label removed. YouTube is also widely rolling out its AI likeness detection tool to eligible adult channels over the coming weeks. Anthropic just made Claude code feel less fragile. A new full-screen renderer kills the long-standing flicker bug. Thinking output and tool calls now stream in real time instead of buffering. The dreaded prompt too long error during context compaction is fixed. MCP connections that used to die mid-session now hold up. A new shortcut lets you send the last day or last week of session logs as feedback in one click. And if the session hits an oversized media file, Claude code now auto-recovers instead of crashing the loop. These are not headline features. They are the features that decide whether you can leave the agent running for an hour. The nonprofit that controls OpenAI has put a real number on the AI and jobs question. The OpenAI Foundation committed an initial $250 million, an opening slice of a broader $1 billion commitment over the next year. The money targets three areas: independent economic measurement, support for workers and communities facing near-term disruption, and longer-term mechanisms for sharing AI gains. The announcement explicitly cites wage loss insurance, taxation shifts from labor to capital, and sovereign wealth fund models like Norway and Alaska. OpenAI is cleaning up the Codex model lineup. Codex lead Thibaut Satio announced that GPT 5.2 and GPT 5.3 Codex will be retired inside Codex on June 2 for users who sign in with their ChatGPT account. GPT 5.5 becomes the default frontier model on free plans. Thibaut cited GPT 5.2 production usage now below 1%. The retired models stay available through the API, so workflows pinned via the API are unaffected. GPT 5.3 Codex Spark, the smaller real-time variant, also stays in Codex. If you have pinned an older model inside the Codex product surface, you have about 1 week to switch. Meta is officially building a paid layer on top of its biggest consumer apps. Instagram Plus and Facebook Plus cost $3.99 a month. WhatsApp Plus costs $2.99. Plus features include premium stickers, more pinned chats, story previews without being seen, and an aggregate story rewatch count. Meta also introduced a Meta One brand for higher tiers. Meta One Plus at $7.99 and Meta One Premium at $19.99 target Meta AI users with more compute and deeper reasoning. Meta One Essential at $14.99 and Meta One Advanced at $49.99 target creators and businesses with verification, analytics, and higher placement. The AI tiers begin testing next month in Singapore, Guatemala, and Bolivia. Meta Verified continues to exist as a separate product. China's biggest game studio is going public with text-to-game. At Spark 2026, the company unveiled an AI game creation platform codenamed CodeCraft. From a natural language description, CodeCraft generates 2D and 3D game prototypes that include art and basic gameplay logic. The platform comes with an AI GC toolchain and a large free library of pre-made art assets. The piece that matters most, prototypes can be exported and integrated into mainstream commercial engines like Unity, instead of being trapped inside a walled demo. The closed beta is open for signups now. The studio also announced Magic Dawn, an open-sourced neural network real-time global illumination renderer for mobile. OpenAI and Thrive Holdings have a working example of an agent that improves itself in production. They built a tax preparation agent called Tax AI on Codex, deployed across the Crete network of more than 30 accounting firms. In this tax season's pilot, it processed 7,000 tax returns. Tax prep time fell by roughly 1/3, throughput rose about 50%, and drafted returns reached 97% accuracy. The core loop is what makes it interesting. Practitioner corrections are captured, converted into structured evals with production traces. Then Codex investigates the failures, proposes code fixes, and validates them before release.
Thrive is now applying the same blueprint to bookkeeping, audit, and IT help desk automation.
OpenAI just made it possible for enterprises to wire ChatGPT into private systems without exposing them. Secure MCP Tunnel lets ChatGPT, Codex, the Responses API, and AgentKit reach private or on-premise MCP servers through a customer-hosted tunnel client. The connection is outbound-only HTTPS, so the firewall stays shut. The tunnel client supports outbound proxies, custom CA bundles, control plane client certificates, and MCP-side mutual TLS. An embedded MCP server called Harpoon lets companies expose narrow internal HTTP endpoints as labeled tools. OpenAI also expanded Workload Identity Federation, letting AWS or Azure short-lived OIDC tokens swap for OpenAI credentials. Initial GA is account-led rather than self-serve.
Your X Premium subscription just got a real developer use case. xAI announced that Super Grok and X Premium Plus subscribers can now use Grok inside Kilo Code, the open-source agentic coding platform. Access works in the VS Code extension, the JetBrains extension, and the Kilo command line. The featured model is Grok Build 0.1, tuned for high-speed agentic coding tasks. Connection is OAuth only. Users link their Grok account and start using the model immediately, with no separate API key to manage. xAI signaled more open-source agents and integrations are on the way. Artificial Analysis and IBM Research just published the first independent benchmark for enterprise IT agents. ITBench-AA focuses on Kubernetes site reliability incident response. The tasks ask models to read logs inside a sandbox file system, trace dependencies, and identify the root cause entities. The headline number is that all frontier models score below 50%. Claude Opus 4.7 leads at 46.7%, followed by GPT 5.5 at 45.8%, Qwen 3.7 Max at 42.5%, and Gemini 3.5 Flash and GLM 4.5.1 tied at 40.3%. Open source models compete strongly on cost efficiency. The takeaway is concrete. Replacing the on-call rotation with a fully autonomous agent is still not realistic in this generation.
Anthropic published a rare quantitative look at who actually uses coding agents. The team surveyed 1,260 quantitative social scientists in February and March. 81% had tried a generative AI chatbot. Only 20% reported using a coding agent like Claude Code or Codex on a weekly basis. Adoption is highly uneven by discipline. Economics tops at 38%, dropping to 4% in education. Men adopt at roughly double the rate of women. Top-tier university researchers run about 40% higher. Agent users produced more working papers and grant applications. Journal submissions show no difference. Anthropic stresses the data does not establish causation and self-selection bias is real. Biohub has released what it calls a world model for protein biology. The system has three pieces. ESMC is the new language model. ESM-Fold2 is the structure prediction model and reaches state-of-the-art results on antibody-antigen complexes. ESM Atlas covers 6.8 billion sequences. The headline scientific claim is concrete. Without target-specific fine-tuning, the system computationally designed high-affinity mini-protein binders and single-chain antibodies for 5 oncology and immunology targets. All models and tools ship under the MIT license, meaning commercial and non-commercial use are both clear from day one. A preprint accompanies the release. That is the May 28th AI briefing. YouTube auto labels, Meta's 6-tier ladder, and Tencent's text-to-game are the 3 to rewatch in shorts. See you in tomorrow's briefing.